with the base frame completed, I've added two more parts. These are the supports for the gear assembly that will support the arm and the claw. In this particular case, I brought them in. You can see the correct number of holes. There's 2 from that first notch and then 3 from the second. Now in my 3D model, of course, the parts all look good. They're all constrained together. But of course in your model, when you actually build the real part, you're going to use nuts, bolts, screws, etc. These are what we call standard parts. I've actually provided the standard parts for you, although you could place them from what we call the content center. There are also eye-mates. There's one eye-mate on this particular screw. Now there's going to be lots of them, so we're going to have to come up with a much better way, a much more efficient way of putting these in. Let's put one in and then see if we can improve the procedure that we use. The second part is what we call a KEPS nut. That's a special type of nut. I'm going to use a pretty traditional way of assembling this. I'm going to put 2 constraints on it. But just think how long it would take us to do this if we had to do those many screws and nuts in this particular assembly. I have a couple of suggestions for you. Let's apply the constraint first. Going to be a mate constraint on that surface to that surface. We'll apply that. And then the center lines. Center line of the screw, the center of the nut, and OK. Now when I think of putting down lots of nuts and bolts, one of the first things I do is I think of perhaps a pattern. So I could use the pattern tool, which is located on the component area. But that's not going to work very well because there's only 2 of them in the top face and then another 2 in the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demote those 2 parts. What this means is I'm combining them into a single assembly. I'll give it a meaningful name, 832 by 250 underscore frame. Make sure it's the English assembly and click OK. And what it does then is it saves this as a single part effectively, or a subassembly. Now I can drag those into my assembly, as many as I need. In this case that corner has 4 of them. And this should speed things up dramatically. All I need to do now is grab that one, use the eye-mate, and put it in place. Now there's lots of eye-mates visible there. I should probably have zoomed in a little bit better, so let's do that. Let's zoom into this corner. Again, select that subassembly, grab the eye-mate, pop it into place, and similarly zoom out a little bit to see it, and there it is. So that's a much more efficient, quicker way of putting those nuts and bolts in.